and go for it.
Awesome. Okay. Just approved the recording. Great. Well, hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday night. My name is Sarah, and I'm the co-founder of Art Snacks, which is a monthly subscription box for art supplies. And I'm also an artist. So you can check out my website, artsnacks.co. But in the meantime, we're going to be painting tonight with Bristol Community College. You can find me here at Sarah Ribs on Instagram. This is what I look like, but tonight you will just be seeing my hands. So I will put these off to the side for now. And let's dig into some of the supplies that we got in our little take-home art package. This you did not get, but so what we're going to be using tonight is the acrylic set. This is the Artist Loft acrylic set of 12. We've got some really beautiful colors here, and we won't be using all of them tonight, but we will be swatching out some colors that we want to use. And then we're going to be using the paint on this awesome little wood disc. It kind of looks like a coaster. I've been trying to think of a good name just to reference this as, but for now we're just going to call it a wood slab. This is our wooden slab. So should have gotten one of these, the paint set, a slew of paint brushes. Now for acrylic paint, you can really use any type of brush. I prefer with acrylic the flat brushes. So you can see it has a flatter brush head, and let's compare it to this one, which is a round brush head. Round is usually good for watercolor, but you're not breaking the rules if you use it with acrylic. So we'll choose our brushes later. Other things that I have on hand, I have a small little glass of water just for cleaning brushes. I also have a slick surface. This is a paint palette, but it is plastic. So if you have a slick surface like a paper plate or a piece of plastic, something hard, we're going to be putting the tubes of paint, like the paint like in these wells, but you just need like a slick surface that you can easily clean off later. Acrylic paint is water-based, so you will be able to clean it off with soap and water. So I have an art studio, so I have all of these palettes to use. Also, we've got paper towel. You may get a little messy, so it is important to have paper towel on hand for cleaning brushes and or cleaning your hands if you need it. And then I also have a pencil. I'm not picky with pencils. This one I like because it has an eraser and it's actually sharpened. Just personally, I use a lot of mechanical pencils, but I think for wood, this will be best, just like a regular #2 pencil or anything of the sort. So with that said, I'm going to put my canvas to the side here, my little wood slab. And what we're going to do is swatch out some colors we want to use. Then we're going to sketch on the wood slab, and then we're going to paint. So get warmed up here. So what I'm doing is this paint set came in a plastic box. Honestly, we could use the plastic box to put our paint on here. So if you want to use that, you can squirt your paint onto this plastic box. I'm being really resourceful now. But they had this paper that went into the box. It was like enveloped on there like this. This paper is like a cardstock. It's the perfect size and the perfect thickness for swatching colors. So that is what we're going to do. So tonight's project on this wood slab is going to be with warmer tones. So when I say warmer tones, you want to look at your color palette here and pick out the colors that are warm to you. So we've got yellow, definitely on the warm side. We've got the names on here. Yellow ochre. So we've got lemon yellow, Yellow ochre, definitely on the warm side. This is vermilion. That falls into the warm category. Crimson red, definitely warm. And I think the burnt sienna is also on the warm spectrum here. So we're going to use that. I'm also going to take out white and black. I think I might find them to be useful at some point. And then these colors, they're fantastic, but we're going to use them for our session later in December. So for now, we're sticking to warm colors. Okay, so whether it is on your slick surface, the plastic box, or if you have a palette in reach, we're just going to dollop a very little bit on there. So you don't need to squirt the entire bottle. You just need just a little bit. We may be mixing some colors later. Who knows? So what's great about acrylic paint is that it is opaque. You cannot see through acrylic. Sometimes it takes 2-3 layers to get it completely solid. Depends on the pigment count in the tube of acrylic. These tubes don't really tell us too much, but I think the pigment count is going to be pretty good. So whereas watercolor goes on transparent, so you can see through watercolor. I personally like acrylic. I feel like I can be a little bit more free. I like to do some color blocking with acrylic. And another great thing about acrylic is that when you put down a color, you can wait until it dries and then put another color on top of it without them like bleeding or blending. So we will definitely be doing a lot of that. So I just did a small little dollop of paint on each of these. And I am just going to, I'm lefty, so I'm going to start here and go this way. Pick a brush. Taking a regular flat. And let's start with lemon. Just pick up a little bit. Just do like a blob, nothing crazy. The purpose of swatching is really just to see the color outside of the tube, because when you go into making your final piece, you're gonna have an easy sort of like a legend to look at, so you can make your decisions. So after the yellow, just clean your brush off in the water, dab it on the paper towel, and then pick up your next color. Go right next to it. Ooh, this one is yellow ochre. It's almost like a gold color, like a golden orange. So you're just getting a feel for the color. I really like this one. I'm cleaning my brush off. And I'm going to go to, I'm actually going to jump to burnt sienna just because I feel like it looks sort of similar. Okay, it's sort of similar, but definitely darker. Like a warm dark, if that even makes any sense. More colors to swatch. This looks like a nice orange. I'm going to jump down here. It looks like the paint is drying pretty quickly. So if you wanted to do another coat over your swatching, you absolutely can. Your water will start to turn into the colors that you are using. No worries about that. If you feel like it's getting too dirty, halfway through painting, you can absolutely pour it out, start fresh. A lot of watercolorists have 2 cups of water. Sometimes I have cups of water too as well, but you just got 1. So I love that this red bottle says crimson red, but it looks so much darker. I actually really love that. Right. My last two colors are just black and white. Just gonna do, yeah, that's very black. So that is great. We can do some mixing later if we want. I am going to show you a few examples of what we're going to be painting tonight. In just a moment, I've got my white swatch over here as my last color. My swatch card is done. So I'm going to let this dry. And again, the purpose of this is to have the colors readily available to you so you know what colors you're going to choose when you're doing your final piece. So, swatch cards. Sometimes they're just like a fun exercise if you get like a new box of markers and you just want to test them all out, but you don't know what to draw yet. Swatching is the best exercise in doing that. So normally I would go in and label all of the colors. I'm not going to do that tonight, but just know that when you're done, you can fold this up and put it right back in with the packaging. So you'll always have your swatch card with your set of paints. So putting this off to the side for now. My paints, I gotta watch my elbows, make sure I don't get my elbow in paint. And I'm gonna show you just a couple things of some inspiration, I'll say, of what we are putting on this tonight. So this is, it's got sort of like a velvety surface. So it's gonna hold on to acrylic paint really well. It does not matter what side you have. It looks like there are some blemishes on these, but the paint is gonna cover those up. So you'll see when we start painting. So what we're gonna do is a couple of, well, not a couple, you're gonna pick a scene that you wanna put on your, what do we decide to call it? Your wood slab, your wood coaster. We'll call it the wood slab. This is just an example. It's a perspective road leading up to a mountain with some foliage on the side. Turns out these are really popular on Etsy. I've seen a lot of them. So we're going to make an original tonight. Here's another example. It's showing the grain of the wood. So it's not completely colored in. It's up to you as to how you want to design yours. But this is just a simple tree that's displaying, you know, the 4 seasons. We've got fall, looks like spring or summer, and then winter, just on a tree. So it's kind of cool to see the wood grain, the circles, through your paint piece. Or if you're feeling up to it, you can just paint over the whole thing. So what we're gonna do first is sketch out what we wanna do on here, and then we'll paint over. So I kind of want to do like a mix of both of these. But I'm going to be working with this color palette. So I think I'm just going to do like a row of trees, something like that. Maybe I'll just do a road leading up to the trees. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So feel free to look online if you want to find some inspiration. I think I just Googled like wood panel designs, paintings, and these came up. So what am I doing with the brush? I'm going to sketch out what I want to do first. I'm going to use this side. And with your pencil, do not press super hard on the wood. You don't want to damage it off the bat. But also you don't want, sometimes pencil does either blend with the paint or it shows through. So we just want to make sure we're doing this carefully. So I'm going to do a road just like that example. And what's great is that this center dot is sort of where the road is going to lead up to. So I'm glad I took black out. We'll be making some gray. And we've got the double line in the middle. And you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. You can do a different design. You can do a face. You can do flowers. But I just hope that the warm color paint that we chose gives you a little bit more inspiration for what you might want to put down on your canvas, on your surface. So I'm gonna do something similar to the example where it's like trees off the sides, just doing like generally mapping it out. So the tops of my trees are gonna come up to here. And it's super light, so let me bring this a little bit closer. I'm just very lightly mapping it out. And then on this side, I'm gonna add some rocks. And it's gonna feel pretty abstract, like this rock is just like a lump that's just like chilling on the side over here. I think I might add like another rock here. And then, so with perspective, you want to imagine like looking at a road and it's just going up towards the center. So I've got where my trees and my skyline are going to start and end. And then for the background, I'm not going to put a mountain, but I am going to make a super light colored skyline. So I am going to be mixing a couple colors. So got the basic gist of what I'm going to be painting. And my first tip for you is to start with whatever's going to be furthest away and then build layer on top. Build as layers on top. So the last thing we're going to do is probably going to be the road. So let's take, let me pull this into frame. I'm going to go for a smaller brush, I believe, something a little bit, you know, I underestimated how small the surface is. So it's, you're going to need a small brush for this. So we're going to mix, I want this sky. So my trees are going to probably stick to like the darker colors. My sky, I'm going to mix white with the vermilion. White. It's going to be sort of like those pretty fall sunsets that you see, you know, when daylight savings happens and all of a sudden it's 4 o'clock and the lights and the sun is going down. I'm going to try my best not to paint on the brown part. I'm just going to be painting on the light brown, the tan. So I'm just sort of putting down my first layer. Brush strokes are going in the same direction too, keep that in mind. The brush strokes shouldn't show up, but just for consistency, keep them in the same direction. Yeah, like I mentioned before, this velvety wood is really just soaking up the paint. So we're gonna have to mix colors again. Okay, so there's my sky, that's my background. I'm gonna lean on that ombre look so that it's a little bit lighter up top. And of course, this is just the beginning. It's gonna look weird. I find that, you know, when you're just starting out, paintings are always going to look weird, but I think what's great about acrylics is you can layer and you can cover things up if it doesn't look good, which is okay. It's okay if you don't like it. You can paint over it to make it better. I'm just gonna make a little bit more of this. Let's be a little bit darker. Okay. So that is my sky. See how it's, when it's further away down the road, the sky is a little bit darker. I may touch up on that later, but for now I'm gonna clean my brush and move on to the trees. Awesome. Okay, so my trees, so I already used this color. My trees are gonna be a mix of the red and yellow ochre. So I'm gonna mix some colors here and see what that makes. Sometimes you just gotta experiment with mixing the colors. See what happens. So it made a little bit more of a fall color. And like I said, we're just gonna get like real abstract with this. This is like peak fall season in New England colors. That's what I'm going for. I've been a New Englander my entire life, so this image of the colors of the trees is sort of ingrained in my head. You know, when you're going up to like New Hampshire or any of those beautiful places up north. So you'll notice that I sort of switched up my technique where I'm more like dabbing with the paint as opposed to using brush strokes. I want to go for that texture. When you dab with the paintbrush, you create sort of that messy leaf texture. And I'm going to do the opposite side at the same time, just so that I don't want exact symmetry, but I want it to look good. So getting it done at the same time, multitasking these trees, I think is a good technique here. Mix a little bit more color. Because the colors of the trees, the leaves on the trees sort of vary, you'll notice that there's a little bit more red in there. I'm okay with that. I'm totally cool with that. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but my dog is scratching at the door. He really wants to paint. Or he wants to be fed. So he will be patient. Funny, actually, his name is Michael Jackson Pollock. So he is a painting in itself. So I'm bringing in more red, as you can see. And I'm starting to reach the edge of the road. So I'm just adding more yellow ochre. Come back again. Hold on 1 second. Quick drink break. Okay. We're back at it. Hopefully my dog at the door is not going to be scratching anymore. Okay, so we're getting super close to the edge here. I know it looks like a mess right now, but it will be cleaned up. We're gonna go in with the smaller brushes to do some more detail. Awesome. Cool. We made it so close to the road. Just want to fill in some of these spaces. Okay. What a journey. We made it to the road. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some tree trunks in with the white and a skinnier brush. What do we got in time? All right, we are 28 minutes in. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I took a skinny round brush. Before I do that, I'm just gonna open my studio door so that my pupper can come in. You're good. All right, we got our dog in the house. He's ready to paint, very supportive of the arts. So what we're gonna do is we've got our side of the road here. I'm gonna add, just gently, some like tree trunks. These are like birch trees probably. Can you see that? Just adding them very gently in the distance here. We're gonna go over the red with another layer, so it may hide them a little bit more. Just being super delicate with this. Awesome. Loving it. I hope yours is coming out just as beautifully as mine is. Cool. Loving it. Great. So now we're going to go in with, I'm going to keep this small brush. So before we were using a big brush to cover more area. Now we're going to change to a small brush to do some detail work. So what color have I not used yet? Probably the light yellow. And I'm actually going to add, I'm gonna mix this color again. I want to add some like shadows in the trees, so it looks like there is stuff in there. Just blending some colors. Trying to make it like a blackish gold, something darkish. Okay, and what we're gonna do is lightly around where your tree trunks are, I'm just gonna add some detail. And that may be hard to see, so let me get a little bit closer here. See how it's like, you know, adding a little bit more definition to your trees. It's okay if you go over the white a little bit. But you're adding leaf texture. Luckily, you have a ton of brushes, so if you want to switch out brushes halfway through, by all means, go right ahead. If you feel like you're, beating up a brush, it's okay. I beat up brushes all the time. I think my one tip for you is right after you paint, just make sure you wash your brushes, because paint cakes on brushes very easily, and especially with acrylic, it can take forever to come off. So highly recommend getting those brushes cleaned, like almost immediately after using them. Okay. So again, I'm moving on to the other side and doing these both at the same time. Looking a little bit more defined here. Boom, boom, boom. Feeling fall in New England already. Okay, so I want to add some lighter colors at the tops of the trees. So I'm going to continue to use my super skinny brush, and I'm going to use like the lemon yellow now. I'm going to mix the lemon yellow with probably a little bit of the yellow ochre. I feel like that is a good color combo. And then probably just to stay on cue here, I'm going to add a little bit of the red. We just want it to be lighter. All right, let's see what that looks like. It's still a little dark, but I am going to work with it for the moment because I have this smaller brush and I want to take advantage of using that. And again, the layers of your painting are important. So granted, I didn't get as bright as I wanted it to be. It's still pretty good. So now I'm gonna try and get brighter here. Adding more yellow. And one more scoop, why not? I'm feeling ambitious. Okay, let's try that. Much better. Getting my leaf texture in there. I think I'm overdue for a highway drive, up 95 through to New Hampshire and Vermont, just to take in the colors of fall. Very overdue. I feel like during the pandemic and quarantine, I did a lot of driving around just to like take in the scenes and stuff like that. So last fall, I was definitely leaf peeping, as they like to say. So I'm just adding some more light sections throughout. I'm going to pick up a new brush. Do I have anything thinner? Oh man, I think I do. Okay, so this is a very thin brush. I'm going to go in and do a little bit more defined on my white tree trunks here. I'm going to gently mix it with a little bit of this brown that I made. Let's see what happens. Nice. A little bit more defined here. The tree trunk sort of like faded a little bit in the background here, so I'm just adding a little bit more definition to them. Cool. All right. So I think I'm ready to move on to my road, which is going to be definitely a different brush. I'm going to use this one. So I'm going back again to a flat brush, a bit wider so I can cover more space. I'm going to make a little bit of a gray. So I got my black, scoop of white, and mixing tin. You know what, I need to make this a little bit lighter, so I'm just going to go out on a limb here and do a dollop of white as opposed to a scoop. Boom. That's better. Yeah, I'm getting like a way lighter gray now. Mix it, mix it, mix it. And I want to add just a touch of the brown that I made. Okay. So I'm turning this surface to the side a little bit, just so that I can find my line and go slow. There's no need to rush. I'm outlining the bottom here. Trying really hard not to get it on the dark brown. But remembering that I need to cover a lot of surface here, so. Sometimes when I paint, I hold my breath just until I lift the brush up again. Okay. I'm going to try and get as close to the edge over here as I can. Great. So that's my road. Notice how I still have some space between the side of the trees and the road. We will absolutely be filling that in. Just want to make sure this is straight, ready to go. Great. Okay, so my water has seen better days. I could probably use a refresher, but I'm just gonna go with it. Okay. So now let's move on to filling in this space over here. So I'm gonna make more of this red, mix it in here. And I think this time I'm gonna grab some of this vermilion, put it in. Just gently dab. I'm not going to be too spontaneous with it. I'm just gonna dab it until I get the texture that I want. And until I just fill in the line between the road. I'm not sure if you can see that. Between the road and the forest. I'm going to turn it this way because I need to get on the other side. Left-handed problems, you know. And we're getting to the part where we're doing more details. So you'll notice that doing things a little bit slower, focusing a little bit more, holding my breath a little bit more, you know, the usual. And let's add just a little bit of black. So I want to make it a little bit darker. This is the dark side of the road. So again, I'm just gonna gently dab, like super gentle. I'm actually picking up the texture from the brush because the brush is not perfect. So I'm getting some really nice texture from the brush. Check it out. Turning it this way. Let's get the other side here. Just being super gentle. Adding some pieces in the dark areas. It's looking pretty good. The screen does one thing, but in person it looks awesome. I need to also fill in this center area, which I did not realize that I sort of left open. So I'm just gonna gently dab, because in theory it's the darkest area. According to perspective, it's the darkest area. Okay. What do you think? The next thing we're going to do is the lines on the road. So again, we want to switch to a very fine paintbrush. And we're going to use, I'm going to mix the lemon. Actually, I'm going to bring a dollop of the okra. The okra. Okra is a vegetable. It's yellow ochre. Brought in the yellow ochre to the lemon. I was hoping maybe I would make this a little bit more lemony, but maybe I took a little too much. I'm going to add a dollop of lemon. And again, with perspective, it's things that are closer to you are bigger. Things that are further away from you are smaller. So the lines are going to be very skinny far away, but they will be very big up close. So I'm going to turn it to the side a little bit. I'm going to try and sharpen the point of my brush a little bit more. Just very carefully. And you can do the dabbing method if you want. Again, I'm holding my breath. I need a little bit more paint on my brush. Oh my goodness. I'm being Being so careful not to screw anything up. But like I said earlier in this live stream, you can cover anything up with acrylic and start over. All right, so yellow lines are generally very close to each other, so we're going to start here. Check it out. Does it look like a street? A little bit like a street. All right, let's fill her in a little bit more because you can still kind of see the gray. And then we're actually going to put some leaves on the road because have you ever seen a super clean road like this? I don't think so. Cool. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Push it up a little bit. We can probably do the white lines on the side of the road too. Actually, yeah, let's do that. I'm going to switch brushes again, keeping it consistent with the fine detailed brush. My white has been mixed a lot, so I'm just going to add a little dollop of white. And this is the lines on the side of the road, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it super duper subtle. So small. And again, we're going to layer on top the, we're going to layer some leaves on top of that. So I'm going to do one stripe here on the side. Holding my breath again until I get to the end. Oh, check it. It's a road. Love it. Okay, so there's two more things left to do. I'm going to really blend in some leaves here on the bottom on the road so that it looks like there's leaves sitting on the road. And then I'm also going to lighten the tops here. So let's lighten the tops first, actually. Let me go back to my yellow ochre a little bit. Ochre. I keep calling it ochre. I'm actually going to grab this. So it's like that's how light I want it to be. There we go. I really want it to be light. Tops of the trees are the lightest, at least in this perspective. I'm going back to that sort of dabbling with the brush. I'm going to do something on the other side. A little bit more weight. Yeah, here we go. You also want to make sure that the sky doesn't end up bleeding in with the treetops. So that light color texture is super important up there. I'm just going for it. Now that I've seen it, I'm adding more white. Love it. Now, if you were handy and you have, power tools or anything like that, you can drill a hole in the middle here and have this be like an ornament on a tree or an ornament in your car, anything of the sort. Just gonna blend it a little bit more down here. lightly. A little dabbing technique. Cool. All right, now we're gonna do just a little bit on the road here. Don't be afraid here. You already have the outline of the road, so just adding dabbles of what are to be leaves on the road should look somewhat normal. The only issue is getting them to not be gray leaves. You want them to be the orangey yellow that we've been working with. It's okay to go over the white line too. Totally fine. Again, we're going for a natural leaf look, a little messy, a little textured. You can even do some light flicks if you want with your brush. It's okay to go over the white line as well. I'm going to add a little bit of white on those leaves. And then I'm going to go back in the yellow orange. Good. Sometimes you just have to look at your work and know when you have to stop, because you don't want to overdo it, or you don't want to mess up. Again, you can, if you mess up, you can go over it again and just do it, paint over it. But sometimes there is just a sign that you get where you just know when to stop. And I think this is my time when to stop. Actually, I lied. I'm going to do one more thing, and that is just to add a little bit more texture, as if there were clouds in the sky. So I'm going to pick up white, just like a dab of red, not even. It's a little bit, just some like abstract clouds in the sky. And after this, I think it should be good. Now let it feel more like the sky. It was definitely a challenge to not paint on the dark brown of the wood bark, but I think we did pretty good. Huh? I think we did pretty good. Acrylic does take a little bit of time to dry. Another hot tip, if you have Mod Podge is an adhesive as well as a sealant. So if you have Mod Podge, wait until your surface completely dries, like, set this aside for like a day, and then do a layer of Mod Podge to sort of like seal it in. That way, if you wanted to hang it up, it gives it more of like a completely finished and like almost like a varnished look. Same thing if you do, it should be the absolute last thing you do. So if you wanted to drill a hole in the middle to make it an ornament, do that first and then do the varnish on top. So you can sort of see the acrylic appears to be dry. It's a little sticky. So again, give it like at least 24 hours in order to completely dry. But there you have it. This is our New England drive through New Hampshire. I think that's what I'm going to title this. So this beautiful New England drive through New Hampshire was made with warm acrylic colors. So you can brag to your friends that you're an acrylic painter now. And it's on a wood slab, a wooden surface. Very excited about this. When it dries and say you want to gift it to somebody, just make sure you sign the back so they know who the artist is. You could also actually write like a nice little note on here and give it as a gift. But yeah, I loved making this. I've never painted on a service like this before. So this was a totally new experience for me, and I hope it was a fun experience for you. So in the meantime, if you are curious about me or my business, which is Art Snacks, our logo is the pretzel pencil. You can learn more about Art Snacks here at artsnacks.co. I have a very special discount code for Bristol Community College. If you use the code Bristol10, you can get 10% off your first box when you sign up for a subscription. Monthly subscription to art supplies. We ship every month. We've got a couple of different size options for boxes, as well as subscription plans to choose from. But make sure you use the code at checkout so you can get the 10% off. If you made some art tonight and you want to show me, feel free to post it on Instagram or DM me on Instagram. It's at Sarah Rubes. Find me there. I've got all of these tabs here for you. And I'd love to see your artwork. In the meantime, if you'll be joining us again for another one of these sessions, you can check back in December, I believe. We'll be doing some art on canvas. That'll be next. And we'll be doing it with cool colors. So in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I truly loved doing this piece, and I look forward to creating art with you in the future. So thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much, Sarah. For those who might be listening or watching this after the live session on the 19th of October, if you haven't picked up your supplies for these paint nights, you can swing by the Student and Family Engagement Desk in G Building on the Fall River campus, or just shoot student engagement at bristolcc.edu an email and say, hey, I want one of those paint supplies, and we can meet you at whatever campus is most convenient for you. Sarah, thanks so much again. We will see you in December.
Yay, thank you.